Hi, didn't see you there. Welcome to Terrific Tuesdays with Tommy.
And Logi.
Yeah, whatever. Welcome to Tom and Logan's Top 10 Movies of 2020.
There's 8 movies here and 2 bonus movies.
So how's this gonna work, I hear you ask? I chose 5 favorite movies. Logan chose 5 favorite movies. We have combined them into one definitive top 10 list of 2020.
Yep, the 5 plus 5 does equal 10, and that's exactly the amount of movies we're going to give you.
Let's get started, shall we? What do you say, Logan?
I'd say we.
Okay, let's start off with Number
10.
Number 10, we have a movie called Sweethurt.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew it was going to be on here
We all knew
somewhere.
it was going to be here somewhere, but let's be real, not many movies came out last year, so by default, Sweethurt kind of edges in front of the competition.
We tried really hard to not include it, but it had to be in there.
Yeah, it had its premiere in November, so that means it's fair game. Moving on to number 9.
Number 9, that's 6. How do you do 9 with the fingers? Number 9 is Sweethurt.
Sweethurt. This comes as a bit of a surprise. Not a lot of people saw this one, but
I was shocked.
Yeah, well, me too. But it had enough comedy, heart to make it to number 9.
Yeah, it didn't have enough gusto to make it further, but had just enough heart to get to 9. It was honestly a really wholesome movie.
It is wholesome.
Wholesome movie. I really felt, you know that
Make you feel in here.
Felt that.
Number 8 is Sweethurt.
Oh,
yeah,
love it.
Love it.
Yep, adore it.
That's why it's here. Why else would it be in our top 10 list?
I could tell you so much about that movie.
Please. Sweethurt's a 2020 Australian film, and not a lot of people have seen this one, but we went out of our way to go to the premiere, which happened in November. It happened in Sydney, and it was really good.
Yeah, we got to meet the director.
Got to meet the director. He's kind of a dick, but he's alright.
But
the writer and one of the writers and actors came up to me, and he was like, "Hey man, I'll suck your dick for $10 in the bathroom." I didn't really want to do it. I did it, but I wasn't all that. So the plot of Sweethurt is a young man goes on a road trip with some of his closest friends because his grandfather has passed away.
That's not the reason why he went on the trip. Well, it kind of is.
Yeah, yes, and there's just so many layers to the plot and story.
It's like if a movie was a cake, it would be the best cake. But not as good as the other cakes we've got coming up.
That's true. Numbers 7 through 1, excellent cakes.
You think these movies are good.
But let's stick on Sweethurt for just a minute. It's a movie that's all about love, it's all about heartbreak, and it's all just in a nice little package. Most of it's set over the course of one evening. I like movies that are kind of,
it's like
constrained like
that. A bottle episode of a sitcom, but
that you never knew you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In movie form.
Yeah. So, Sweethurt, check it out.
Sweethurt, check it out. Number 7. Now, this is where things got a little heated. I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted number 7 to be. Tom, of course, disagreed just a little bit. But after explaining my case, I did kind of win him over. But number 7 is, in fact, Sweethurt. Now, why is it number 7? Why is it not number 6? Well, one of the writers was also one of the actors, and it was kind of cringe. I really don't enjoy when writers put themselves into movies.
They call that throwing the Woody Allen. Never want to go full Allen, both in your professional life or your personal life.
That is... ooh. So yeah, if you're a writer, don't do that.
Kind of annoys me when the director does that as well. He had a cameo in this movie. That's why this movie, right. it felt like
It felt like an excuse just for them to act.
It just felt like kind of a circle
It's
jerk.
like no one's gonna give them anything, so
Yeah.
they're just like, well, we'll go make our own movie, and then they did, and then they're
just-
like, we'll put ourselves in it.
It reeks a little bit of desperation, but I cannot deny just how funny it is. Like, all that kind of
It
meta
was
stuff
funny.
aside, it's just genuinely a funny movie. That, if you kind of put that other stuff aside, you can just, enjoy it for what it is. And I really enjoyed it.
But for those reasons that we stated, is number 7.
And number 6, a little bit of a controversial pick.
Controversial.
We have Sweethurt.
Ah.
Now, when the trailer for this movie came out, I didn't think much of it, actually. I thought it felt, I don't know, it gave me the impression that once you see the trailer, you kind of see the whole movie. And I hate when movies do that.
Hate that.
Don't you? Like, you watch the trailer and you're like, now why the hell would I buy a movie ticket to see this movie? I've already seen it. But it actually didn't do that at all. It was really clever. It made you think you know what kind of movie you're in for, but then you watch it and you're like, oh shit, this is actually way different to what I expected, and this is way better than what I thought. And because it kind of surprised me so much, it really shot up in my rankings.
I really do love a good surprise.
And one of the things I did really enjoy about this movie is that the writer and the director do appear in the movie.
I love when movies do that.
Me too. Like, it's just a nice little nod to people who are kind of paying attention to
People
the credits.
that know, they know. They're like, I see that.
And we're those people. We like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's why you get number 6.
Well done, Sweetheart.
Well done,
You've done
Sweetheart.
good. I guess that brings us to number 5.
Oh, number 5. Number 5 is, of course, Sweethurt.
Sweetheart. And we argued a little bit about this one as well. But that's what happens when you have two people making one list. But
Yeah, it doesn't usually work out, but then it kind of does. Almost like the writers of Sweethurt.
That's true.
2 people writing, too many cooks in the kitchen, could just blow up in their face. Didn't happen here. Sweethurt, I think, was written very well.
In addition to the writing being good, unlike some of the other movies on our list, this movie actually had like a really good cast. You know?
God, you're right.
Yeah, we haven't.
I
really want to get into that because the cast of this movie is so talented. Bunch of unknowns. Don't know who the fuck they are.
I had no idea.
Yeah, but you know what? They did really well. You don't often see performances of that caliber in such a low-budget film. But for that reason and for that reason alone, I felt it deserved number 5 on this list.
Obviously, it complements the directing as well, because like to get a bunch of unknown people all to seamlessly work together, that's some quality stuff. Like, I think overall everyone just did really well on that.
Great cast, but there was the one actor who played Drew. He kind of, he gets it.
You just
There's always a weak link, and in this movie, it's Drew.
wasn't the best performance. Was the most honest.
But luckily, not too much of the movie focuses on him. Most of the is about the character of Jake, who was played by this guy. Rav was really good. The girls who played the 2 lead characters, can't remember their names, but they were really good as well. Very believable, very honest. I just came away from this movie feeling that the cast is going to go on to do really good and hopefully better things. Better than this.
Hopefully better.
Because, they deserve, to be in something that's better than this. But the performances is what really elevated it for me.
It doesn't matter where you start as long as you finish.
Coming in hot at number 4 is Sweethurt. Now, this movie fucking blew up at the box office. So, it's kind of an easy pick because it was so successful.
Box office, COVID.
A lot of people tend to, whatever movies are the most, popular, most successful, usually comes in number. A lot of people chose, Avatar when that came out, and Endgame, a lot of people number 1 movie of all time. So, it's kind of predictable, but I'll be damned, but it was just a really good movie.
It was the end game of independent cinema.
That's a good way to put it.
There was a bunch of people from all over the place. You don't know where they're from, and they're all in the movie. They're from Sweethurt now.
That's true.
Them. They get to say that.
It's all downhill for that cast from here.
How
could they do anything better?
To be them.
Yeah, right.
Imagine having to do another movie after that one and trying to pretend that it's
there's nowhere
step up.
For this cast, there's nowhere to go but down. Which is kind of sad in a way. For the crown jewel of their career to be this early, they're kind of pulling a Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, you don't want to be a Frankie Muniz.
He races cars now, that's true, look it up. I am, of course, referring to the Frankie Muniz classic, Big Fat Liar, co-starring Paul Giamatti. To me, that's just...
That is peak Munez.
Hello, Marty! That hurts, Marty!
I'm blue.
Yeah.
I'm blue. Help.
What a classic.
Number 3, though. Speaking of good movies, can we just talk about number 3 for a second, which is Sweethurt?
Critical Darling didn't do that well at the box office, but it's slowly gaining an audience.
You know what? It's finding itself.
It's one of those movies where it doesn't need a lot of commercial success to know exactly what it is and know that it's good. The people who have seen it know what it is and know that it's good, and we're 2 of those people. That's why it's so high on our list.
That's why it's at number 3. That's so close to the top.
You know,
If this was the Olympics, it'd be on the
little podium.
podium thing.
Yeah, biting a little medal.
Yeah.
Making sure it's real.
Making sure it's real, which it was. Just like the acting, which was real.
One of the things I liked about this movie was the cinematography. In a lot of, like, comedy movies, they have somewhat of a plain, you know, visual style. But this movie had a lot of color and a lot of depth, and, like, they shot in interesting locations, and something you don't get from a lot of movies like this. So look at fucking, you know... That movie that came to mind when I said that. Doesn't that movie suck because it's not shot very well?
We got you there. You thought of one. Don't deny it.
Yeah.
We'll fight you.
This movie... This movie doesn't do that. It just looks good. It looks way better than it has any right to, considering how cheap it was. And that's why it's so impressive to me. And that's why it's at number 3 on our list.
That's a pretty good 3. You can do number 2.
Number 2, shouldn't surprise anyone. Great movie from last year. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
What a fucking great time this
really
was.
good.
It's so good.
I really appreciated seeing Jim Carrey
Back in the fold.
back 90s peak Carrey.
If you've ever wanted to see Jim Carrey act like he's escaping a T-Rex and he pretends he's been decapitated, this is the movie for you.
I'd like to say that didn't happen, but it totally does. And what a movie.
Didn't know I wanted it so badly. You know what? In like 5 years or so, they're going to pull like a Snyder Cut deal and they're going to release the original version with like the weird looking Sonic. I think that movie will be even better.
Honestly, yeah, I wanted the weird Sonic version. I was sad that we didn't get it. But you know what? I wasn't sad with the product that I got after I'd watched it.
I really think that James Marsden is, you know, stepping up his game when it comes to movies where he co-stars alongside an animated character. He's done that a lot, and this is the best of the bunch. And that brings us to number 1.
Oh, number 1.
But before we get to that, we're going to get to some honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Movies that didn't quite make the list, but we just have to shout them
you just
out.
don't make it,
Yeah.
you know?
First honorable mention, Sweethurt.
Sweethurt.
Sorry. But...
You tried, but... just didn't do good enough, you know? It's a tough list to get on.
do better next time,
Better
is
next
what we're
time.
saying.
You know what? Promising writers,
You know what?
promising directors.
It's an honor just to be an honorable mention. That's why honor is in the name.
There is no shame in being an honorable mention.
That's true.
Another honorable mention that I personally want to include is Sweethurt.
I didn't like this one. That's why we didn't include it.
That's why I just wanted to point it out. I really, really enjoyed it. We got out from the cinema afterwards and we had a bit of a...
Bit of a 1-2.
Bit of a 1-2, bit of the knuckles. But, you know, what can I say? It spoke to me. It was really, really, really sweet.
I thought it was shit.
Really sweet movie.
Really shit. But let's move on to number 1.
Number 1.
This was a hard choice. A lot of good movies last year.
A lot of good ones.
You know,
a lot of not so good
a lot of not so good ones, like our second honorable mention.
Yeah.
But, you know, eventually we had to come to a number 1. And I'm very happy with what we chose. How about you?
Out of all the movies of 2020, it was definitely one of them. That's why it gets the number 1 spot on our list.
And what movie is that, Logan?
It is, of course, Sweethurt.
Sweetheart. What else could it be?
That's right, you heard it here first. Sweethurt was the best movie of 2020.
Now, as we all know, a lot of good movies came out last year. There was Sweethurt, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sweethurt, Sweethurt. But let's talk about that number 1 for just a little bit.
Can we please?
Why did it deserve number 1 to you, Logan?
Because, you know, the lead, I think the lead Rav, the lead Tyra, the co-lead Rian, the other co-lead The guy with the beard, they were all pretty good, in my opinion. I think they knocked it out of the park. Some of them had little to no acting experience, some of them had some acting experience, some of them had a lot of acting experience, and it all just meshed together in this really nice cultural mixing pot, which is exactly the movie that Australia needed in 2020. Shame not many people saw it, but I'm sure that people will be able to see it this year when it picks up some more steam. So look out for it, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna come.
This movie just feels like a warm hug from an old friend. You know, all those people used to hang out in high school who don't really talk, and you don't really talk anymore, but you kind of wish you did, but your lives just went in different paths. Maybe one of them got a job at, some sort of engineering, company, and, maybe his mum talks to you more than he does, but, maybe you just really want to talk to Leighton again, but, maybe he's just busy,
Some people are pretty busy.
But it has that feeling to it, and frankly, if you don't like this movie, you can in fact go fuck yourself.
Yeah,